1, 2, 3. Hi, Internet. We're Dan.
And I'm Chaz, and this is a crazy episode of Wine is Serious Business. We're filming live from IPNC. We've got Dan here with us, and then a French winemaker who was gracious enough to show up and pour some wine for us and do a show with us. And this is awesome. This is Matthieu, and your last name is?
Gille, in French.
Okay.
Gille.
Gille.
Yeah.
Like
All right.
Zsa Gabor.
Yes, I practiced, but I'm always so nervous on the show. Anyway, so yeah, we're at IPNC and just got to drink through a whole bunch of awesome wines. Did you have a lot of fun?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good time. Yeah.
The town is very nice. The people are pretty nice too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And everyone loved that wine, so it's a great experience.
So talk about. Obviously, you're a winemaker. So talk a little bit about your label and what you do.
So we do Pinot Noir.
Yeah, no, just yeah.
No, but yeah, we're located in Burgundy, just a little bit south of Nuit Saint-Georges.
Okay.
And half of the production is Côte de Nuit Village, which is an appellation that is kind of easier to drink than Nuit Saint-Georges. The tannins are softer, and the way we make the wine, we wanted to keep the tradition where it makes sense. And for instance, I don't like stainless steel, so we still have oak vats.
Okay.
I don't like to do temperature control because I like quite much to have this vintage effect. Like when you're in 2009, it's warmer, the yeast would work very fast and you have something that is really crispy on the fruit, not that much acidity. And it's completely opposite to 2008. You have the effect of the cold millésime, where the yeast would work very slow and you have something really more complex with more persistent in the mouth.
Yes.
Very different. So that's mainly the difference with other wineries where people are really looking at something that is controlled. We just kind of coaching the yeast, keeping them into the right boundaries so that it doesn't deviate and do some kind of vinegar or
do something
anything.
bad. Yeah, absolutely. So what are you pouring today for us, or what are you
today is a very special vintage. It's 2010. Usually you have something that is either concentrated or lighter. But here we had some frost on the flowers, so the berries would not develop that much, and we had more skin for the juice. Still we have some acidity, so we have tannin, acidity, something very nice.
Awesome.
Uncommon. It was just a nightmare for us because 40% less yield than usual, but like a collector wine.
I see.
And can you tell us a little bit about the history of your winery and how you got involved in it?
So the winery is there. Let's say we have an article from a journalist that is dated 1570, saying that we are the oldest family in town, in Comblanchien. So we don't know exactly when it started. And we are all involved in the wine business since we were born. So it's just kind of natural. We like it. And yeah, it's kind of new adventure every year. So if you have this kind of mindset, it's really funny because every time you put the grapes in the vat, you don't know how it will happen. You know a little bit about what happened during the year, so you know if it was cold, hot, but you never know exactly what will happen. Actually, even having the volumes is a surprise. When you pour the thing, sometimes you say, oh, that was much bigger than I thought.
How did you feel about 2010 as a vintage? In general, do you think it was a good vintage?
10, we were really,
Yes.
Yeah, we we were worried because of this frost on the flower. We didn't know how it would end up, and we really stopped extracting quite fast. We were tasting all along the process. So at one point when you think, oh, that's already nice, you just stop the extraction. You say, I have something great now. You have color, you have aromas. You don't need to do more, or you finally have something like tastes bitter or with too strong tannins. That's not elegant.
Do you think 2010 is going to be a vintage to lay down, like for collectors, or do you think it's something that's going to be better when it's younger?
Maybe I can answer the question that way. We do some Corton Grand Cru. We had only 3 barrels that year. I kept one for me.
Awesome.
Perks of the business. Yeah.
I think
I'm going to come visit you.
I think this vintage can age forever because it goes straight from the beginning. As I said, you have tannins and acidity that is kind of uncommon. Usually it's either
Pretty
warm,
well integrated.
Yeah. Usually it's either warm with much tannin or cold with much acidity, and there you have something very well balanced.
I totally agree, and with a very good intensity of fruit as well.
Yeah.
And sort of like almost like a floral red tea thing going on too that I really enjoy, and it's delicious. So.
Well, I like the red tea thing. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's like
so nice when you're smelling Burgundies, because we've been drinking a lot of the Oregon stuff lately, and you just get all of these really earthy characteristics that are super interesting. Not necessarily just the fruit; it's all these complex flavors.
Absolutely.
Secondary notes. Good point, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
What vineyard sites do you work with, and what are like your? Do you have a favorite? Like might be like calling a child, like you're not supposed to call one your favorite, but that one's your favorite, right? Like do you have
There's always a favorite.
Right. Do you have a particular site that you enjoy working with the most?
They're all different, and we love them for different reasons.
Totally.
So we have one plot in Nuit Saint-Georges that is really uphill. That is a nightmare to do because all by hand. But you have so beautiful view, and it's east. So when you work in the morning, you have the sun going up.
Oh,
so
fantastic!
That's so nice.
Yeah.
You have Corton. Corton is very difficult because at the beginning it's quite closed. So when you do the fermentation in vat, it's kind of difficult to detect if it's right or wrong, and then it opens with the years. So that's something very, very interesting. We have those vines in Chambol that are in a very dry ground, so you have to take care of them really nicely.
Okay.
So that's kind of your fragile child.
Oh, yeah?
You know?
Yeah.
Von Normandy is always nice. So that's an easy one.
It makes some good wine, yeah.
Yeah. It's always softer than the other ones. It's very nice. Côte de Nuit, I think, is an appellation that is not known enough because it has a little bit less structure than Nuit Saint-Georges at the beginning, so easier to drink. But when it ages, the difference is really not easy to make. After 10 years, sometimes the Côte de Nuit is at the same level as Nuit Saint-Georges, so that's a nice one that we like quite much. It's softer tannins, and I like quite much. Awesome. So they all have something, you know.
Yeah.
The Pommard is like, if you do not take care, in the middle of the mouth, it's like flat. So you have to tune it.
I see. Yeah.
You have to find the right barrels, actually. That's the appellation that needs more oak than the other ones.
Okay.
And and I think that's maybe on the result, one I like most is Nuit Saint-Georges First Roll d'Écaille. It's a little bit more powerful than Chambol, just a little bit.
Okay.
It's more men and Chambol more women.
I see.
More man, sure.
I had one other question too that I like to sometimes ask winemakers, and it'd be an interesting question for you. So you're, do you have any idea how many generations back now your family's been making wine?
That's a good question.
Yeah, okay, so we'll leave it at that. But for you, I know like we all had sort of moments that we really fell in love with wine, right? And you've been around it your whole life.
Yeah.
But do you remember a moment that sticks out? Was that when you were like, this is when I really like this? Like I'm.
Yeah, actually, you have the short story that we were born in it.
Yes.
The longer story is that when you're a child, you taste, you just don't like it.
Okay.
And, and you come to like it a little bit more, but not understand that much. And the first time you do the wine yourself, then you start to really understand. That's the moment that you say, oh yeah, that clicks now.
Right.
I know. I could taste the juice and have some aromas that were not developed and that you find stronger in the wine, and the opposite, some that were really juice and dimmed. And then you can find exactly how it works, and you can see what is the way to get what you really want.
Right.
When you have to continue, when you have to stop, what you have to do. Would you dump over? Would you push down? Would you? Many things. You know.
So your first wine, was that when it really clicked for you? Like where you?
Yeah.
So you came to wine then, like this was a job, and then when you made your first wine, you really like.
Yeah, I was
you
just
fell in
helping
love with it at that point. Yeah.
What vintage was that?
96.
96.
Actually, a very nice, very nice vintage. Yeah,
nice one to start on. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, that's Dan's. Do you have any more questions before we leave?
I'm really liking this. I
Covered
think
a lot of ground.
Super solid wine.
Yeah.
I got to try some of your stuff over the weekend, and you know, it's really
I tried
delicious.
all of
So
it.
it's fun to
I didn't,
taste
so
it and have this
good to hear.
opportunity to do it, and yeah, keep making great Burgundy.
Thank
It's really
you.
lovely, really balanced, really nice.
And thanks for traveling halfway across the world and filming this show with me and us. So,
Well, that
And
was
Dan.
and Dan.
Stan?
Yeah.
Champagne?
Thanks,
Yeah,
Dan.
actually, that was a pleasure,
That
and
was the
I'm
horse.
honored to be
That was
here.
the horse.
Yes. Well, thank you. And so, lastly, we always let our guests ask a question of our audience, and if we get comments, awesome. Sometimes we don't. Most of the time we do. And so, anything that you want to know of the internet and people, wine lovers out there, other wine geeks. So,
Okay, so yeah, maybe my main question is what do you like in the way that Burgundy make the Pinot? You know,
Okay.
it's kind of because when I thought that Pinot here would be only stronger than what we do, and we can find a wide diversity, sometimes nearly our style. So I was wondering what is really the difference that you're looking for in French wine.
Oh,
That's a
one.
good
That is a
question.
great
So
question.
please respond to that, and I think we will get actually a lot of responses to that. So from the Dans and Chaz and Matthieu, we'll see you guys next time, hopefully next IPNC. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.